Right, let's get it. Royal Ascot 2025. You know the menu. It's 35 races. It's 8 Group 1s. It's 8 Group 2s. I think it's 12 ferociously competitive handicaps. It's Group 1 horses from all over the world, from the UK, from Ireland, from France, of course, but also from America, from Japan, and from Australia. The best in the world are here. And so are Simon Mapletoft and Maddie Plale. If the horse sense is as good as the dress sense, we're in business here. Simon, welcome back. Maddie, welcome back. Maddie, first of all, what are you looking forward to on day one?
I think the King Charles III Stakes is going to be really interesting, Graham. We've got the last year's winner, the Australian Asphora, back for more, but I think she might get upset by Big Price Runner.
Simon, I think I know what your highlight of day one might be.
Well, the St James's Palace, it's got to be. I think it's the race of the week. 3 Guineas winners lining up. What more could you wish for? Field of Gold, of course, looking to enhance his reputation as the leading 3-year-old miler.
You know you've got a tremendously deep card when the Queen Anne Stakes isn't the highlight in these two experts' minds. The Queen Anne Stakes is race 1 on day 1. A mile, straight mile, 1,600 metres, world-class contest. Let's have a look at the runners and riders. Number 1, Cairo, will be a long, long shot. Carl Spackler brings an amazingly cosmopolitan profile to Royal Ascot and a handful of Group 1 American turf wins. Dancing Gemini is in the form of his life. Diego Velasquez represents Aidan O'Brien, but he does so without a run this season. Docklands has a great record at Ascot, was second in this race last year. Lake Forest, high-quality horse for the Haggis team. Lead Artist led the parade, much improved performance in the Lockinge Stakes. He beat Notable Speech, he beat Rosalien, and he beat Dancing Gemini. And at the bottom, we have a new shooter to the party in the very, very progressive Gosden horse, Sardinian Warrior. All sorts of options here. This is going to be one of the most open Queen Anne Stakes betting markets we've seen for a long time. Let's kick off, Maddie, with a horse who was tremendous this time last year. It is Rosalien, and when he came to Royal Ascot for the St James's Palace Stakes, he was mustard.
Yeah, I mean, he had so much against him on this occasion. The race just didn't play out to suit him. But yet, that's what good horses do, Graham. They overcome adversity. And Rosalien, he just smacks of class. Admittedly, some of his form from last year could look stronger, but it was the style rather than the substance that suggested he could be a real top-notch miler in open company this year. For me, he's going to be very hard to beat back at the scene of an excellent success in St James's Palace.
Let's bring it up to date verbally, Simon. I'll set you up the Lockinge Stakes, in which Rosalien had 11 months off the track. I think it showed. Notable Speech, I think, had been off for 6 months, and I think it showed. But the first two were Lead Artist and Dancing Gemini. 1, 2, 3, 4 reoppose. I've watched that video 10 times, and let's face it, I think you can make a case for all the 4.
You certainly could, all with rock-solid chances. I think the thing about Rosalien is that Richard Hannon made a strong point before the race that, this horse will come on enormously for that first run in a long time. That was apparent, that ring rustiness in the race, but he still ran a solid race, and he'll be spot on for this test. And when we analyse the form of those 4 horses, he's the one that's probably got that extra 10% still to give, I think.
It's a wide-open race, this. And you have to think outside the box in Whirlpool terms and talk about outside-the-box thinking for Carl Spackler. He used to be trained by America's leading turf trainer, Brad Cox. He's now with Australia's leading trainer, Kieran Ma. He's owned by Yulong Investments, one of the major Chinese players on the world stage. He's ridden by a Kiwi, and his name is Carl Spackler. And in America, he has been one of the best turf milers for a while, Maddie.
He has such an admirable horse, a 3-time Group 1 winner. There's not many in here who can match that. The Maker's Mark last time was just a breezy success. That was probably a career best. Although the opposition he was facing there won't be anything like he'll see in the Queen Anne, I think he's probably not quite getting the credit he deserves for a remarkable CV. He's been settled in here for a while now. We saw him exercise at Newmarket just a few days ago. There was nothing not to like about him, Graham.
It's going to be a biggish price as well. We're going to take in 2 more VT clues. Just give me a quick line on Coudoir, Simon. He's got a good Ascot record. He won in France last time, but it's fair to say that he's in a bit deeper than he's ever been on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the summer mile form looked pretty decent. He's a horse who does need to step up, but I think he's a worthy player in this kind of race. You can see why Connections are keen to have a go. They are looking for considerable, not minor improvement here to really play a part. But, you know, it wouldn't be the first Queen Anne that has produced perhaps a slightly surprising result. And, you know, if it falls that way, he could run a big race.
I'll take the ball now for Sardinian Warrior, who was a little-known horse maybe 6 months ago. He's progressed through the ranks, all-weather, handicaps. Let's pick it up at Ascot in the Paradise Stakes. Wasn't a Group 1, but have a look at the horse who chases him home. It's Docklands, last year's runner-up in this race with a great record at Ascot. And it takes a little while, but as you can see, bit by bit, Sardinian Warrior gets on top. The first two well clear of some smart horses. And since then, he's gone to France and run an excellent race over a slightly longer trip in Group 1 company. So this is a tremendous Queen Anne Stakes. Dying to hear what the guys think. Simon, your 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Queen Anne, please.
Well, Rosalien, it's got to be for me. I think he'll find that necessary improvement to turn the Lockinge form around. So number 10, Rosalien for me. For the places, number 7, Lead Artist, has to be in the frame. The Lockinge winner, of course. Dancing Gemini struggles to win a Group 1, but I think will be thereabouts in third. That's horse number 3. And number 11, Sardinian Warrior, I think will run a big race, Graham.
Paddy, solve this puzzle, please.
I'm in agreement. I think Rosalien, number 10, is going to be very hard to beat. We saw how much he came on from his first run in Newmarket last year over to Ireland. Hopefully that's going to be the case again. I know you like Sardinian Warrior. I agree with you. I think that form with Sosie from the Prix-d'Ispahan last time looks very good. Number 11, he's in at second for me. And then 3, Dancing Gemini. And 2, Carl Spackler. I think he's going to run a cracker.
Good luck with those. I'm going to go slightly off the map here with Sardinian Warrior. He hasn't won a Group 1, unlike a few of these, but he's knocking on the door pretty hard. I think he's made for a race like this. 11, 7, 3, 10. Sardinian Warrior, Lead Artist, Dancing Gemini, and Rosalien is to Queen Anne. And the best of luck, however you play the race. Race 2, day 1 at Royal Ascot, as always, is the Coventry Stakes. It's a Group 2 race for 2-year-olds over the straight 1,200 metres. Couple of points to note. Aidan O'Brien has won this race 10 times, but the ace in his pack, Albert Einstein, had a setback and misses the race. He still looks pretty strong. The other point to note, don't be worried if you fancy one at a wild price here. Last year, Rashabar won at 80 to 1. I think it's 5 years ago, but Nando Parado was a cheeky 150 to 1 when he won this race. So all things are possible. Let's look at the runners and riders for this year's Coventry Stakes. Down the card, number 2, Andab, has plenty of experience and some smart form. Further down, we've got the likes of Stard, not Gustard, I think it's Stard for Aidan O'Brien, who wasn't fancied on debut, but looked pretty impressive. Number 11, Military Code, has looked impressive, including on this course for Godolphin. And Postmodern, he went to Yarmouth with a big reputation, and he polished it by winning really handsomely. Power Blue is now in the Ammo Racing colours. He ties in very closely on Curragh form with Andab. Further down, Rock on Thunder's Leicester win has been polished by a couple of winners. And right down towards the bottom, not necessarily a second string for Watnan Racing, Underwriter follows a familiar path towards Royal Ascot for Archie Watson. Last but not least, down at the bottom, number 21, Warsaw is another once raced, once successful Aidan O'Brien colt. Let's kick off here with somewhat of a known quantity, Maddie. It's Military Code for Godolphin. Won quite well first time at Newmarket. And at Ascot, over 5 furlongs, he had to work quite hard. This form has been made to look pretty strong in the interim.
Yeah, some expensive purchases in behind him on this occasion. And the thing for me was that he showed a really good attitude, Graham. It wasn't easy, as you say, but in the closing stages, he was really grinding out victory. I must admit, he's not in my numbers, but he's had the perfect preparation for a hot and heavy race like this.
Simon, he gave Fitzella an old as gold, £11 and £6, and time may tell that was a smart performance.
Well, absolutely. 2 very useful horses in behind. This horse likes to be on the sharp end, has got a decent middle draw, just high of middle. I think that's probably an ideal place to be. And given the horse's experience on the track as well, has to be a player.
Watnan Racing have been a major force in the last couple of years at Royal Ascot. They've had the checkbook out as usual, strong transfer players. And Maddie and Simon both like a Watnan horse. Simon, start with you. You make the case for Underwriter, please.
Underwriter, yes. I think the big puzzle for James Doyle this week is to hopefully choose the right horses. They've got such depth, haven't they, all the way through the week, Wolferton Racing. James does forsake Underwriter, who was his first winner back, of course, first ride back from that collarbone injury up at Ayr, and it was a most emphatic performance. It's a familiar path for Archie Watson to tread. He's sent Electrolyte and Army Ethos up there to Ayr prior to Royal Ascot. Both finished very good seconds in the Coventry, so it's a familiar path, and I think the authority that horse showed on debut suggests to me that he's got enough to run a mighty race.
Postmodern went to Yarmouth with a big reputation, and he won in handsome style.
Yeah, I'm sticking with James Doyle. I'm hoping he has made the right decision. Jamie Spencer, of course, was deputising on this occasion at Yarmouth when he won. The connections, they weren't expecting it. Richard Brown, who represents the owners, their advisor, he said that we weren't, thinking he would put in a performance that impressive, but he just has so much raw ability. The further he went, the better he looked. I think this horse, in a very interesting heat where there's not a particular standout, I think he's going to take another big step forward.
I'm going to put in a good word for a couple of Irish horses here. The reason we've got a wide open market for the Coventry is because the anti-post top favourite, Albert Einstein, isn't here. But the two horses who chased him home in the Marble Hill Stakes at the Curragh are, and they are Power Blue and Andab. They had a right set to for second. Power Blue just got the better of it, but he and Andab are key players for me. Any others to mention, Simon and Maddie, before we do the numbers for the Coventry?
Yeah, I think so. Warsaw was, I thought, impressive at Navan. I think that horse really powered home that day and suggests to me that this trip on the stiff track will be ideal, bred to stay quite a bit further. And I mentioned Archie Watson and his excellent record in the race. He also runs a horse, he's got 3 in the race, but he runs a horse called Chartier, who was mightily visually impressive at Lingfield last time. Holly Doyle, I know, is very sweet on that one's chances too.
Mapletoft loves an Archie Watson horse. What else have we got here, Maddie?
I think, Chartier's got an excellent chance, but Starred, for me, I thought he wasn't the main pick in his Navan race, but he put him some great late headway to score. It just smacked of a horse that was going to do better next time. He's by Royal Ascot sire, I really like, in Star Spangled Banner. Interesting
that both those O'Brien horses, Starred and Warsaw, they weren't fancied at all first time, but they both won and won well. Let's do the numbers for the Coventry Stakes because the Quinella will be well worth winning here.
OK, well, for me, it's number 20, Underwriter. For the places, 21, Warsaw, 12, Postmodern, and 16, Chartier.
Well, Wolferton Racing, if they don't have a good couple of winners this week, they'll be disappointed. Hopefully, number 12, Postmodern, can be the first of them, followed by 9, Stad, 2, Andab with that good Marble Hill form, and then 16, Chartier to run into a place.
Yeah, no Albert Einstein, no problem for the Irish as far as my numbers go. I'm going 13, 2, 9 and 11. That's Power Blue on top of Andab, Stad and Military Code. Coventry Stakes, good luck. It's going to take about a minute to win it and about 4 or 5 minutes for us to hopefully crack the puzzle that is the King Charles III Stakes, a Group 1 sprint over 5 furlongs, 1,000 metres, race 3 on day 1 at Royal Ascot. And if this race has a familiar look, it's because we've got some very familiar faces. More on American Affair in a minute. He could be a big priced Springer here. Further down the field, Night Raider is likely to blaze here. He's very, very quick. And this is his first ever run at the minimum distance. Regional ran a screamer in this race last year. Further down, Starlust is a Breeders' Cup winner. Washington Heights is quick. Asphora won this race for Australia last season, and she's back again with some headgear for the first time. Believing ran 2 excellent races Tuesday and Saturday at Royal Ascot 12 months ago. Further down, Maghera is in the form of her life after a big win at Haydock. And we've also got some 3-year-olds down at the bottom, including Tropical Storm and the Dubai winner, West Acre. The obvious starting point here from a Galloping Clue point of view is last year's race. They split into 2 groups. Asphora was given a very, very cute ride by Oisin Murphy. He seemed to sense that the pace in his small group near side was beginning to flag, so he smuggled Asphora over, and she got the better of a really good finish, with Believing running excellent race in 4th and Regional just ahead of him, Simon. This trio are all back, and they all seem back in great form.
They do seem back in great form. Sfora, of course, has had a different route this year, slightly different preparation, perhaps a little bit more low-key. As you say, they try the headgear for the first time, so looking to try something different. That's an interesting approach. I just think she's up against it this year.
She's probably about the same filly, which begs the question of have one or two of her rivals improved. I think trainer George Bowie would certainly argue that Believing is a stronger model this time than she was 12 months ago, Mary.
Certainly. I mean, she's since got her first Group 1 in the Alquoz Sprint in Meydan, of course, and she's in Fault of Frankel, which can often prompt these mares to sort of elevate their...
Regional also ran well in the Dubai race, didn't he?
He did, yeah. They both showed a strong level of form there, but there's a couple of new kids on the block, and I'm interested, like you, in one of them that ran at Haydock.
Yeah, we're talking about American Affair. Now, this is a horse who hopefully will fly a little under the whirlpool radar. He's an upgraded handicapper, but he's a very smart handicapper. He's a hold-up horse with a strong turn of foot. And rather than touch on Haydock last time, where he was too free and saw too much daylight, I think both me and you would concentrate on his York performance in handicap company, which was super impressive.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he had excuses at Haydock last time because he just didn't get the gaps when he needed them. But the horse he beat on his last two starts in handicap company, JM Jungle, has gone on to win the Epsom Dash. We know that's one of the key sprinting races of the season, and that horse won it easily as well. So the form's been advertised. Yes, on the ratings, official ratings, you'll say he's got a lot to find. I'm not sure there's that much between these from top to bottom.
Agreed.
And I think the pace of this race, they're going to go quickly earlier with Night Raider out there, etc. I think that's going to play right into his hands. He won't be sighted early. He'll be kept towards the back, but I think he's going to put in a really strong late effort.
Compelling race. There's going to be a wide open betting market. Simon, if you could, wrap up this race and give us your numbers, please.
Well, I think everything's aligned for Regional, a horse who costs 3,500 guineas, has won over 700,000. The Group 1 winner, of course, he's got the ground he wants this time. He's syndicate owned, and Ed Bethel tells me that he's never had him in better form. They've taken that decision just to take things quietly after the Alquoz and come here fresh, and I think that will be the right decision. So for me, it's number 7 Regional. For the placers, you mentioned Magira. What an inspiration she's been for Ed Walker and the team. Number 16, I think she'll be in the placers. Can't keep Asfora out of the 4, number 12. And number 14, for the same reason, Believing, rock solid.
We're going for a shock, Graham. Big priced fancy in the King Charles III Stakes. Number 1, American Affair. I think he's going to put up a career best. I think he's going to love these conditions. We're going to see an excellent effort from him. Number 12, Asfora, back to the scene of her victory last year. I think she's going to put in another fantastic effort, followed by 11, a pace angle, Washington Heights. He's going to win a big one day, followed by 23, Westaker.
What she said about American Affair, I agree with all of it. Fast ground, fast pace, hold-up tactics, hopefully come charging late at a big price. It's all about value. We both like American Affair, number 1. 14, Believing, is obvious. 7, Regional is obvious, and 12, Asfora are all obvious. There's one more horse I want to mention. I couldn't squeeze him into my numbers, but Monacan was going places, really going places when last seen. It's over a year ago. Something must have been quite badly wrong, but the fact that he runs here is interesting. I'm going to go 1, 14, 7, 12 with a sneaky order of Monacan in the King Charles III Stakes. It's time to look at race 4 on day 1 of Royal Ascot 2025. And if you said to me the St James's Palace Stakes is going to be the race of the week, you wouldn't get any argument. It's the round mile here, 1,600 metres. And the dream scenario for the organisers at Royal Ascot of this race is to get not 1, not 2, but 3 classic winners. The English, French and Irish Guineas winners clash here down the card. And potentially the hottest priced favourite of the week. It is Field of Gold, unlucky at Newmarket, behind Ruling Court, made amends in thunderous style in the Irish Guineas. First wave looks like a pacemaker for stablemate number 3, Henri Matisse, who is tricky, but he relishes fast pace. Officer is also in for Aidan O'Brien. He could go forward as well. Rashabar is a high-quality horse and dead genuine, and he popped up at 80-1 on this day in the Coventry 12 months ago. Ruling Court took advantage of a slightly unlucky run for Field of Gold in the Newmarket Guineas. He was going to run in the Derby until about 90 minutes before the race, when Charlie Appleby, concerned about easing ground, pulled him out. Down at the bottom, Windlord looks highly likely to be the pace maker for Field of Gold. This is a spectacular race. Maddie, I'm going to come to you here. This is a fairly nebulous and whiskery piece of video evidence, but it's worth looking at Rashabar running an excellent second in the Jean-Luc Lagardère, Arc Day, Longshore, and in behind, on softish ground, Field of Gold racing too freely. He's a different model now, and Henri Matisse seeming to get stuck in the mud. Just give me your overview of a couple of these horses and how they've changed in the last 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, well, Field of Gold is the obvious one to start with. Such a strong 2-year-old. He hadn't filled his frame, though. Sadie Gosden told me that he's seldom seen a horse change from 2 to 3 as much as Field of Gold has, and we've seen that evidence shown on track as well. There was the excellent win in the Craven, followed by a somewhat unlucky second in the 2000 Guineas at Newmarket. Last time at the Curragh, he set things straight with an explosive victory under Colin Keane. That jockey, now the main rider for Juddmonte Farms, retains the rider here. He looks the outstanding candidate in the 3-year-old division. Henri Matisse is a very top-class prospect as well. He did well from his position to win the French 2000 Guineas last time. He's going to like it if we have the 3 pacemakers here and if they all go forward. And Ruling Court, maybe we're forgetting a bit about him because he did beat Field of Gold, of course, at Newmarket. Got first run. Not sure he's going to be able to have much response to the grey this time around.
So, quick line on Henri Matisse. We're going to look at the French Guineas. And Aidan O'Brien, as he so often does, set this race up perfectly. He laid the table with the pacemakers for Henri Matisse to feast. And although he was way back, he came charging through and got the better of a tremendous finish with John Quill.
Yes, he did indeed. And, it was almost or much more the finished article than some of these towards the back end of last year, of course, with his Breeders' Cup success. And I think he had the race pretty much run to suit in France. I mean, whether or not he will this time, it could be a little bit more tactical, perhaps. But, his record speaks for itself. His trainer's record speaks for itself as well. And he's got to be involved in some shape or form. But I think there might be one to beat him.
Back to Field of Gold, and the parallels with his sire, the mighty Kingman, are spooky. Kingman, high-quality 2-year-old, unlucky in the Newmarket Guineas, absolutely bolted up in the Irish Guineas. And when we talk about the Irish Guineas, Simon, you look at the way he powered clear of some pretty good horses. It makes him a tough horse to oppose here, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And, it's beyond question how this horse needs to be ridden. He will be stalking the pace. You can guarantee that. And I don't think Colin King will be too shy about sending this horse to go and win his race inside the final furlong. And I think he's got all the tools in the box to put them all very much to the sword.
Maddie, you touched on Ruling Court being slightly a forgotten horse, and it's a weird thing to say about a 2000 Guineas winner, but he is top quality elite Group 1 colt in his own right. Does it put you off him in any way that he had a Derby preparation, that he was being trained for a 1.5 mile race until just over a week ago?
It's definitely notable, Graham, because he hasn't run, and it was the plan to run, so his build-up has changed. But given what we know about him, he's travelled a course to Meydan before. I think he's got the right characteristics to produce a great run just a couple of weeks later. Field of Gold, it's worth saying as well, it just showed so much quality as a 2-year-old last year, and he's really building upon that now. He's got that Coral Eclipse entry over further, so they clearly think that this mile is only right at the start of his compass.
I think we might be in trouble here. It might be one of those occasions where we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. Just wrap up the St James's Palace with your numbers, please, Simon.
Yeah, we'll do. Well, Field of Gold for me, he's thriving. I think he'll relish the stiff mile here today. So here's the winner for me, number 1, Field of Gold. For the placers, has to be number 6, Ruling Court, who I'm sure will make a race of it again. Number 3, Henri Matisse, the other Guineas winner. He'll be in the frame. And number 5, Rashabar. He's pretty reliable.
Graham, copy and paste the exact same numbers, 1, 6, 3 and 5. I just hope that First Wave, Officer and Windlord all go forward. We get an honest race, because it's not always the case in this event.
I think we'll get a severe pace here, and I think it'll set things up for the cream to rise to the top. When he goes Field of Gold, he sustains, and we saw that at the Curragh. He was drawing away quickly. I think we might be in for a stellar performance from number 1, Field of Gold. 3, Henri Matisse to come from off the back to the second. 6, Ruling Court and Rashabar. 3 classic winners banging heads What's not to like about the St James's Palace Stakes this year? Okay, now it gets difficult on day one at Royal Ascot. We're into handicap territory. It's a marathon, 2.5 miles. Take around 5 minutes to win it. It is the Ascot Stakes, a historic handicap. You need a very strong stayer, and you need, quite often, a horse trained by Willie Mullins. He's won this 4 times, but do note, he hasn't managed to train the winner since 2018. He might do this time around. Let's have a look down the card at this big field. Dawn Rising is a classy Irish stayer, but as a result of that, he's got a high weight. Divine Comedy is a very, very reliable mare. Further down the card, East India Dock has been terrific over jumps and on the flat this spring. High quality hurdler and very good to win the Chester Cup last time. Manxman, a model of consistency. Ascending represents top target trainer from Ireland, Henry de Bromhead. Liari won last time. Zoffi ran an excellent race in the Chester Cup. Alphonse Legrand is a proven big handicap winner over this distance. And then we come, hats off to their Majesties, the King and Queen, in the royal colours, trained by Willie Mullins, ridden by Ryan Moore, and it looks for all the world as if Reaching High has been trained to peak with this day in mind. Further down the card, the likes of Mr. Hampstead and Poneros have crept in at the bottom of the weights, and they both have very viable chances. Let's talk about Poneros first, Maddie. This is a horse we're going to see in action, running well, travelling strongly in a 1.5 mile handicap here at Ascot in the second half of last season. But since running well here, he's taken, how shall we say, a very different career path.
He really has. A 100-to-1 winner of the Triumph Hurdle at the Cheltenham.
First time out over hurdles.
First time out. That was his debut. An extraordinary effort. And as you'll know, Graham, that form's going to be key to this race, which is slightly strange, or perhaps not at all for the Ascot Stakes, with East India Dock, who was down the field in the Cheltenham race, also reappearing here. Poneros is actually, it's obviously not like for like, but he's £6 better off with East India Dock this time. Bearing in mind they raced off levels at Cheltenham, and now he's getting into the bottom of the weights. And this is a horse who showed excellent form. He was second in a London Gold Cup when trained formerly in Britain. He's got untapped potential over these staying distances. I think he's going to be very well handicapped, and although he might not be the first string for Willie Mullins, I think he could come out on top. Ratings
tell a tale here. 91 is a fairly useful handicap mark. He's rated 149 over hurdles. So you're right, Maddie. He could be well handicapped. We're going to talk about Manxman now, Simon Mapletoft. And this is a horse who's just very easy to like because he keeps rolling up in good quality handicaps and he keeps running really well. We're going to pick him up again at Ascot in the second half last season, running very well. And ever since then, he's inched his way up the weights because he's kept progressing.
Well, he has. He's improved quite considerably, this horse, involved in that highly controversial Cesarewitch, of course, last year when he was given the race in the steward's room. Then it was taken off him again. But I thought he ran a super race at Goodwood last time in a race that I think will be telling.
Talk to me about the second horse in that race as well.
Well, the second horse in that race
Mr. Hampstead.
Was a horse called Mr. Hampstead, of course. Manxman got the better of the argument that day, but I thought for a relatively inexperienced horse, Mr. Hampstead acquitted himself very well on that track. I just like the way he showed a real turn of foot for a stayer and went to win his race, and he was just reeled in by a dour rival in the closing stages, but it was something strong to build on. I think he'll be even better suited by the test here at Ascot over the 2.5 miles. He's a beautifully bred horse. He's probably got the strongest pedigree in the whole of the field here as a flat horse, and I think the Ammo Racing boys will be celebrating with him at a potentially big price.
Ran the Derby last year. Couldn't cut much ice there, but I think he'll run well too. Maddie, sum up the Ascot Stakes, will you, and give us your top 4 numbers in a very, very difficult handicap.
Yeah, it's difficult, Graham. Staying territory now, isn't it? This is a very long distance race, and Poneros, well, he should be absolutely relishing that based on what we saw at Cheltenham, and a good run behind Lulamba at Punchestown as well afterwards. They said that Cheltenham was just a sighter. He ended up winning, so I think he can perhaps upset some more stablemates here. He's on top for me, number 20, followed by another Irish raider, 13, Nürburgring. Another Triumph horse from a few years ago. He finished 4th behind Majbra. I think he's got untapped potential over these staying distances on the flat. Not so good last time, but good form before that. 7, East India Dock, can't leave him out of the numbers. The Chester Cup winner, followed by 15, Reaching High.
Well, for me, it's got to be Mr. Hampstead. He's, for me, the improving horse in the race. So number 9, Mr. Hampstead for me. For the placings, can't leave Mr. Mullins out of the equation here. 20, Ponyross, 15, Reaching High. And although he's going to have to come from a long way back from his draw, number 7, East India Dock, can make the frame.
They've mentioned him. I'll flesh out the case for Reaching High. By Sea the Stars, the dam is Estimate, who won the Ascot Gold Cup, the Gold Cup for the late Queen here just over a decade ago. The pedigree is fantastic. Pedigree suggests Reaching High should stay forever. Showed plenty of promise for Sir Michael Stout, and it looks like he's been laid out for this by his new trainer, William Mullins. Excellent performance, just been at Leopardstown last time out. Grind, grind, grind. That's what he does. I think Ryan Moore is at the controls. He's on top for me. 15, Reaching High. 19, Mr. Hampstead, for the reasons that Simon outlined. 8, Manxman, because he's dead reliable. And 20, Ponyross, for the reasons Maddie outlined. It's a tough puzzle for the Ascot Stakes, but I'm hoping it's going to be hats off to the King and Queen with Reaching High. Welcome back to a sun-kissed paddock here at Royal Ascot. We're going to talk about race 6 on day 1. It's a listed race, round course, 2,000 metres. It's the Wolferton Stakes, and it's not a handicap, but it couldn't be any more open if it was. Let's have a look at the runners and riders here. Liberty Lane is bang in form after a solid success last time. Military Order is a high-quality Godolphin horse. Further down, what's happened to Ambiente Friendly after his excellent Derby efforts last season? The wheels have come off. Further down, number 7, Equerry's Secret was highly impressive in a good handicap at the Derby meeting. Enfajar seems to have been laid out for this race, and his trainer, Roger Varian, has a very good record in this race. Hello, here come Wathnan. Number 9, Hartem, Jersey Stakes winner last year. Number 10, Haunted Dream, ran really well at this meeting in this race. Number 11, King's Gambit, ran a belter here at Royal Ascot. And further down, number 15, Torito, hasn't been seen since running well in this race, and he has headgear for the first time. This is stacked with horses rated around 110, 112, 114. Let's start with a fairly obvious one. It's last year's Jersey Stakes winner, Hartem. This was a high-quality performance, Simon Mapletop. He was carrying a penalty. He was pressed by various horses, but he was just too tough for them.
Yeah, and he deserved that because he was a horse who he really went down on his sword, didn't he, in the Classics last year? Super horse, and yes, he really toughed it out. But all of a sudden, he's just been found wanting, hasn't he? His form this year has left a little bit to be desired. That's a concern for me. Has he trained on? Is he quite the horse? And of course, he's got to cope with the distance as well.
Absolutely. He had a 10-month absence, Matty Plale, and his 2 runs this season have been okay without suggesting that we can back him with max confidence.
A man who does have confidence in him, though, is James Doyle. He's had plenty of choices in this race, and he's still plumped for him. Admittedly, things haven't gone as planned, but like you say, Graham, he's had some issues, so maybe it's just that it's going to take him time to reach peak form this season. I'm certainly sure that's what Richard Hannon will be thinking. Perhaps this longer trip will help him unlock it, although pedigree wouldn't be confident that that'll be the case.
Another horse who impressed at this meeting last year, a slightly unlucky second in the Hampton Court Stakes, was King's Gambit. But Simon, a little like Hartem, he's not appeared to come back in quite the same form this year.
No, he hasn't. He's got some pretty rock-solid handicap form to call upon, but, this requires much, much more, and it doesn't surprise me that James Doyle has forsaken him.
What's your number 1 choice here, Maddie?
I'm sticking with Liberty Lane, number 2. An exceptional winner of the listed Festival Stakes at Goodwood last time, and has been building a really nice CV because he was 3rd in the Huxley before that when things probably got away from him just a little bit. I think that's performance you can upgrade. He's just very straightforward. We mentioned a lot of the questions surrounding other runners, but he's in a really good place right now, and I think he can capitalise upon that. Similar story for Phantom Flight. He's next in, number 4 for me. 3rd in the Brigadier Gerard last time. That could be Group 1 form very, very soon behind Almakam and Ombudsman. Some great efforts out in Bahrain for him earlier this season. I think he's going to run a big race. Followed by 9, Hartem, the class horse. You've got to keep him in there. And 8, Enfjar.
Tough one, Simon. Can you solve this puzzle?
Yeah, I think Carl Burke is set for a good week. He's got a real player here with Liberty Lane. As Maddie said, he's an improving horse. I think that's key. He's showing progressive form. He's well treated, I think, according to his rating at the weights here. He was impressive, make no doubt about that, in the festival. So I like him, Liberty Lane. He's got a wide draw. Hopefully that's not going to be too much of an issue here. I think one will run well in the places. A Curial Secret, who was incredibly impressive over this trip at Epsom last time. Ground might be an issue for him, but he's an improving horse for Richard Fahey.
Yeah, they'll be watering strongly here, so I'm keen on that horse, Curial Secret. He's number 7 on the race card, and I think he's a potential improver. Very tough puzzle. Varian and the Gosden Yard have been the 2 stables to follow in this race in recent years. Enfajar had some high-quality handicap form last season. He didn't have the hood first time. I think we'll see the real Enfajar this time around. 10 Haunted Dream and 15 Torito both ran extremely well in this race 12 months ago, and they might do so again. This is tough, really tough. But 7, 8, 10 and 15 for the Wolfie Wolferton. Hope you've enjoyed the Whirlpool previews so far for day 1 of Royal Ascot 2025. Race 7 is another tough handicap. It is 14 furlongs, 2,800 metres, add on about 10 more metres or 34 yards for good measure. And clearly, it's a complex handicap puzzle, runners and riders. And let's pick out a few key horses. I like the look of Fairbanks at a big price here. He's got a wide draw, but he's got some good form on the flat. Further down, French Master has a very interesting profile. Very well bred, very lightly raced, and did well to offset some traffic problem last time. Number 9, Charles, is one of the key market horses of the day because it's William Mullins, it's Ryan Moore, it's a lightly raced French import who could be really well handicapped, or he could be just another runner. I'm not sure. Further down, we know much more about number 12, Caballo de Mar, and we know that he's progressed extremely well in valuable handicaps. My mate Mozzie comes back after running on well for a place in this race last year. All sorts of possibilities. Maddie Playle, the floor is yours. Solve me the copper horse, if you will.
I'll do my best, Graham. And to do my best, I'm going to go to John and Thady Gosden, a trusted partnership. And they've taken a trusted route to Royal Ascot with French Master, their blinkered horse in this race. The race he won impressively, battling strongly and closing late to win at Goodwood last time. They won in 2023 with Courage Mon Ami. That horse went on to win the Gold Cup. This is much easier than that, and French Master has now got a rating of 100. As I say, the further he went, the better he looked last time. He's by Frankel, who is often stamina influence and out of a very good mare in French dressing. So the pedigree is there, the performance on track is there, and I think there's going to be more to come. I trust him more than I know about Charlotte.
I think that's very well put. Simon, it takes a good trainer to bring a horse through from a mark of 64 to 97. It's a feather in George Scott's silky top hat, this Caballo de Mar, and he might not be done improving yet.
Well, I saw this horse rattle up a hat-trick on the all-weather in the depths of the winter. Progressed race by race. George has got a good record of producing these staying horses like this from modest marks, but he's shown he's the real deal, hasn't he, this year? He went to win the Chester Cup, only just got run out of that by East India Dock. And then I thought his run was polished at Haydock last time out over the 2 miles. I thought that was a really solid performance. Enough to suggest that he could be very well handicapped, I think, this horse off a mark of 97. I'm fearful of French Master. I think he's a pattern horse in the making. So off 100, he too could be thrown in.
Yeah, I think these two have touched on 2 very, very strong contenders here. I'm going to add one real long shot to the mix. It's an Irish raider, the Durkin training operation, Fairbanks. He used to be with the Balding stable last year, and I followed him closely. He won one nice race and ran really well, only just beaten a glorious Goodwood. He was sold for 65,000 guineas. He's won a middling race over hurdles, but I just get the impression he might be the type of horse who sneaks under the Whirlpool radar. Simon, I know you like Caballo de Mar. Give me the reasons for that horse in brief and your 4 numbers for the copper horse.
Well, quite simply, he's an improving horse. He's dropping back in trip, but the stiff mile 6 will really suit him. But I have gone with number 7, French Master. I think he is the class horse in the race. Number 9, Charles. Number 12, Caballo de Mar for reasons mentioned. And number 13, Lavender Hill Mob, I thought could run a big race for James Owen in 4th.
Similar numbers, Graham. French Master for me, it's a tried and trusted formula. Number 7 on top, 9 Charles, 12 Caballo de Mar, and 14 Champagne Prince has a very stout pedigree. This trip's worth another go.
Yeah, I respect French Master and Caballo de Mar. I would take a chance at a big price, add some value. With number 4, Fairbanks. If he's as good as he was last summer, he's a viable contender here. In behind, 12 Caballo de Mar, model of consistency. Number 7, French Master. And my old mate, nemesis, some would say, my mate Mozzie, who ran really well for a place in this race last year. Thanks for joining us today for day 1 of Royal Ascot. Our pleasure to bring you the action from the best race meeting on the planet.